Welcome. So, I was watching this video. From Leak Project, Rex. And I decided I'd make a video. So, let's go through some things to lead back into this video and why that's relevant. We'll get to there maybe. I'm not even sure. But I have some things to talk about before then to kind of relate to then get to there, because this chain of events that's happened where I can't really start there. So we gotta start here at this post. Douglas Vaught. I've never heard of this person. I came across on Twitter a post of one of these videos by Open Mind something. This one, Open-Minded Approach here. Shared these videos, or like a clip from it. I was like, what is this? And he listed his name, so I looked it up. Die Hold Foundation. And this guy, Douglas Vaught. But he proposes a nova that is related to the like mythologies and all, pretty much like the Younger Dryas kind of thing, but he's talking about the sun novaed, and it specifically did so in a manner, in what he's saying, where it influenced part of the earth, this part of the earth, and then his interpretation is that the other part of the earth experienced a dust cloud, as he calls it, that like went around it. So there's this side that experienced the direct radiation from this nova impact, and then the other side that was like wrapped around. It's basically what he says in terms of how this culture like experience things, but it brought some things to my attention. First of all, if you know my research enough, you probably can see why this is significant immediately to me, because we're drawing a line from basically what's pointing at the North Pole to all the way down here, it's pointing at Australia. So from here, where the Hawaiian sphere, so see previous videos if you don't know what I'm talking about, underneath Australia, a physical sphere was incubated under the crust by flood currents and the Earth's expansion process, undercurrents as well, but in this case undercurrents, that then produced a physical mass that was spherical, that was ejected from an ammonite structure over here that formed, that ejected the mass. It moved over to this area, which was over here before the Earth expanded, and then it ended up over here, where then it went up between Asia and North America, as well as Papua New Guinea area, which was over here, and islands of Sulawesi and North Maluku, and then Philippines were here. So there are some islands here with Australia adjacent. But this sphere goes up that way and runs into this location. But it does so where that location is over here, under the crust and goes under and in pretty much. Like it runs into it literally and goes underneath here, but impacting the whole region underneath it, where it then goes to the actual North Pole. And when it gets there, it gets slungshot away, because being over here is actually over here in this area, right here specifically, where then it gets slungshot away from up here, like physically moving over here, the entire region, as both of these regions swing out and shove Hawaii southward as a sphere. It's shoving this actual sphere because it reached the North Pole and the Earth didn't like it. The Earth was like, well, there's a sphere at the North Pole. What the hell? Get out of here, sphere. I'm the dominant North Pole here, kind of thing. You don't get to be up here, sphere. Although, if it was actually like energetic enough, this sphere, it might have actually managed to get to the North Pole and then been emitted as an actual projected particle. I don't know. Rather than like a planetoid, rather than being rolling in the Pacific as it did. So it gets slungshot this way, where it runs into resistance over here. Like, not itself, but the propagating energy into it here. At the bend. So the bend is important. Bend is at like 48 million. This crater, or caldera, is the largest caldera on Earth. It is at the same time, essentially, it is related. It's where essentially the sphere is flowing because it was just shoved from the North Pole. It gets shoved and it's flowing, but then it's flowing into resistance that is building up on the opposite side of it. Not this. Over here, though, like before this moved, it was way closer to North America, pretty much. Specifically Australia and the Philippines and Sulawesi and North Maluku, this region. This was over here, though. Like, moved out this way, where Australia, this portion, was connected here initially, over here, with Papua New Guinea attached up here, but then to essentially across here. Across here was Papua New Guinea. When this corner was attached over here, before this opened, because this was conjoined, this boob conjoined on the smaller Earth, and then this portion had Papua New Guinea adjacent, while this down to here was over to here, which was then up here, and then Australia was attached to it with land masses, Precambrian positions, pretty much. And then the flood happened and moved things around. And one of the things that it moved around was Australia, so that it wasn't attached over here. Papua New Guinea physically rotated. All of Australia pretty much went like doop and turned. Maybe I did turn, doop, doop, and it reattached. Like attached to North America to a point where it was like actually attached. But it did so with a bonding mechanism that when it broke, because it later broke, when it broke, it left behind this like bonding aspect from here and over here, where Papua New Guinea was attached. So we've got all this stuff going on. and the sphere goes up to the North Pole, and then it gets shoved down this way into generally pushing here, but like at a time when it's actually flowing more so physically into North America instead of going northward, where I believe it was more so flowing into Asia, China, into this region. It was like going up here, but then at some point going along this path to reach no, it doesn't actually work because it goes in over here. Definitely goes in over here. It looks like it goes this way while going this way around here, across here, down here, across here, over this way, along this way, over here, where it hits the Idaho batholith. So let's look at some pictures real quick. But before I get into that, let me finish this. So North Pole pushing energy. Notice it's through also this path. Like if we follow this down through here, this path, through here, and then dot 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 over here to this region. So there's this actual like path from generally up here that goes at this width and shoves it down here. So it seems like it just got shoved by a current this way. That was probably going through here, running into pressures over here, and shoved it this way. Like directly from the North Pole, directly to the equator. Exactly. It just shoves it to the equator. Effectively. Well, this was not up there, but just the general area is getting shoved there, so that effectively does it. Like it rotated, reattached, and then over here, or reattached over here, and then currents that were flowing this way shoved it this way, away from North America, and opened the Pacific. The Pacific generally opened. So I'm thinking these fission tracks, which is what these are, which are like a technical term. Analysis of damage trails. So they're damage trails left by fission fragments in certain uranium-bearing minerals and glasses. So fission tracks that are, from my understanding, I tried my best, but I didn't really get to go through the totality of his work to find him talking about it more thoroughly. It sounds like there's just like a high amount of them found in literature here, like documented in literature. These fission tracks that just happen to be in this area. That was my interpretation of why he's saying this. It sounds... believe, yeah, like here, for example, I'm not sure if this one is specific to the region he was talking about, but I'm pretty sure it sounded at least like there's papers that are like reason why he points to this. So I would say it probably is there just because like of where it is. Like if there's somewhere, so think about it like this: the sphere of Hawaii that is being formed on the Earth is not stable. It wasn't energetic enough to become a stable planet, and it was on the Earth in these currents. So it instead, when it reached the North Pole, it basically was injected with this energy that made it supernova. And in so doing, opened the Pacific. Like, it blew up this way, out this way, shoving Hawaii, like, against like a backstop in this area of pressure that ultimately was against here, though. But shoving it away in a manner, though, where it physically exploded the entire Pacific Ocean to have porphyry gold deposits around the Ring of Fire and all these like supernova elements, like precious metals that wrap the Ring of Fire because they're supernova materials from this supernova or nova. Just fractally. It's a star fractally. Was the sphere, like mechanically it was of the same nature, just fractally, where it was composed of magma and had a shell where it still is like Earth. But, what was I saying? But it novaed and deposited in the process gold all around the Ring of Fire. So if we say like gold map world, all especially here, not so much on this side. It kind of suggests that the gold was more so this way. Which gets to some things that I was thinking also. So like maybe like a 90-degree angle kind of thing. It pushed off of this angle while propagating off of like this angle. Or like this angle. Generally, like a 90-degree angle off of it. Or something. Generally. Well, not 90, but the point is, propagating off of it, another current that more so was the gold current, where actually Hawaii went. Like the sphere. So this is some things I was looking at today. Let's keep going at this post real quick, though. Let me just finish this. This is the region where the opening of the Pacific slingshot the sphere, so that's what I was just talking about, when it reached the North Pole and caused Russia and Alaska to physically swing out and push the sphere away and back into the Pacific, where it was applying energy down towards Australia along the western North American margin, while interacting westward and eastward as it moved and pushing open in the Pacific. So like current flowing south into Australia generally, but propagating with pressures to the side as well, so it applied pressure into Asia and into North America to open the space. Kind of like to open this, like I have to like apply a force on the sides kind of thing. used several ancestral narrative sources to draw upon. One from the Hawaiian Islands is described, first image below. He, Maui, snares the sun because it's traveling too fast. He uses a rope which his grandmother makes for him. He then snares the sun. It stops in the sky, low on the horizon. Then Maui beats the sun until the sun agrees it will travel much slower across the sky. And then I posted the legend here. From here. Perhaps this suggests that when the sphere of Hawaii reached the North Pole, it interacted with the sun. A rope. So it says a rope. Alright, he, Maui. Let's say Maui is the Hawaiian sphere. This huge sphere rolling in the Pacific, forming the Pacific, supernovaing in the Pacific, is Maui, let's just say, in this narrative of what they're trying to describe. Snares the sun because it is moving too fast. So, let's say it goes to the North Pole and interacts, possibly, like, it's supernovas. Maybe it actually taps into the sun. He says, a rope which his grandmother makes for him, and I said, is very reminiscent of the name Damodar, which means a rope around the belly, which is shallograms, and relates to the formation of shallograms by equatorial currents that physically float around the center of the stone. Hopefully you know what I'm talking about. I don't know if I can have a good example of an equatorial current, like, off the bat. But, like, kind of like how these are wrapping around the stone. This one is incredible, but that's not the best example. I don't really want to find a really good one. Hopefully you just know what I'm talking about. And if you don't, you can see my shallogram videos. It's a thing. Like, I see it in some of these in subtle ways. Some of them it's more pronounced. Like the ones with holes, like that, but holes in the actual ammonite structure. Where, like, erodes into them, kind of like that. Anyway, like, that would be probably the equatorial current cutting in and actually getting into the stone in this case. It looks like it even swirled it in to create these things. Maybe swirled this way, actually. I don't know. But, probably the other way. This is the first way, I mean. Wrapping around polar regions stones. Additionally, the Hawaiian sphere was born from the womb of Australia, as I mentioned. And because of the narrative is grandmother, so the Hawaiian sphere is born from Australia, which is born from the earth, Mother Earth, to daughter Australia, to granddaughter Hawaiian sphere, thereby Earth is the grandmother to the Hawaiian sphere. So his grandmother, Maui, the sphere, which is interestingly it's masculine, when, like, grandmother and Mother Earth are feminine, following that pattern, possibly because of the active nature of him. I don't know. The Hawaiian sphere, okay. Thus, when the sphere reached the polar region of the Earth, it reached the location of a physical conduit of current that flowed between Earth and the Sun directly and thereby would have been most able to interact with the sun. If you don't know what I'm talking about, polar conduit between planets and sun, something like Birkeland current, maybe electric universe kind of discussion. I don't know where they, like, it's in papers. It's a technical thing in papers. I don't know why I can't find it easily. I think that's in a lab experiment, not it's trying to show similarities, I guess, but point being, the pole of the planets kind of has like an umbilical cord that connects energetically, forms a conduit of exchange between like a larger and a positive and negative system, pretty much a large, small Earth, large sun. There is a flow of energy between the sun and the Earth that then is like an umbilical cord that also connects the sun to these other planets as well. But so maybe, my point is, maybe he Maui snares the sun because it is moving too fast, so maybe the Earth is physically rotating faster than usual. Like the crust has started to rotate. I don't know if the actual rotation of the Earth changed at the time. There are interesting details about the darkness, a period of a lot of darkness in these stories. Apparently, I don't know what to make of it exactly. I don't know in terms of geological evidence. If there was a time, maybe when the days were shorter, it was also maybe colder and less sun, some reason. I didn't know what to make of it exactly, because the details are really perplexing and start to open like a can of worms for sure. There's a can of worms that's opening by even trying to relate this in a feasible way and see what they are presumably trying to share, if it's a thing. I mean, and from there, it seems the sun injected energy into the Hawaiian sphere because it was suddenly in a much larger stream of current, that of the entire Earth's connection to the sun through its Birkeland current structure, and this caused the Hawaiian sphere to undergo its equivalent of a supernova, which is why the Ring of Fire both exists and has many gold and precious metal deposits wrapping its perimeter. Although what we just looked at looks maybe not so balanced. This also explains the fission tracks, where fission products are found in high abundance, and apparently it was observed that this process reduced the rate that the sun moved through the sky. And then I put rotation of the Earth, although their language suggests there are likely deeper truths to this as well when seen from the literal meaning. He also has a lot of work to go through, I guess. So I wanted to introduce that to then maybe we can look at this. Maui becomes restless and fought the sun with a noose that he laid, and winter won the sun, and summer was won by Maui. Very unique legend is found among the widely scattered Polynesians. The story of Maui's snaring the sun. Maui? I think it's Maui. I don't know. This says Maui, but I kept coming across Maui. Anyway, I'll say Maui, because that's what I'm going to always say, was told among the Maoris of New Zealand. So the story of Maui snaring the sun was told among the New Zealand Kanakas of the Hervey and Society Islands and the ancient natives of Hawaii. I'm not completely sure, but here's the Samoans tell the same story without mentioning the name of Maui. They say that the snare was cast by a child of the sun itself. The Polynesian stories, so I thought it was interesting. Maybe they wanted, like, I don't know what to make of this part. The ancient natives of Hawaii, I'd have to find more information on that. But, like, maybe Hawaii, like, where the Samoans are Hawaii, like, right? Or no? No, it's literally its own country, dude. Samoa. It's that movie, too. Oh, over here. That's right. That's right. We've looked at this place. Pardon me, Samoa. Oh my god. But so, maybe the lack of I was thinking the lack of a name was because they're on Hawaii, but apparently that doesn't actually fit what I was going to say, so. Let's keep going, though. The Polynesian stories of the origin of the sun are worthy of note before the end of the change from short to long days is given. The Tongan Islanders, according to W. Gill, tell the story of the origin of the sun and the moon. They say that Vatia and their ancestral Tongati quarreled concerning a child, each claiming it as his own. In the struggle, the child was cut in two. Vatia squeezed and rolled the part he secured into a ball and threw it away far up into the heavens, where it became the sun. Like supernova, it outshines the entire galaxy. It shone brightly as it rolled along the heavens and sank down to Avaki, the netherworld. Going underneath to the North Pole. But the ball came back again and once more rolled across the sky. Possibly returning. I don't know if that's at this point. Returns rolling across the sky. Tonga Iti had let his half-child fall on the ground and lie there until made envious by the beautiful ball Vatia made. At last, he took the flesh which lay on the ground and made it into a ball. As the sun sank, he threw his ball up into the darkness, and it rolled along the heavens, but the blood had drained out of the flesh while it lay upon the ground. Therefore it could not become so red and burning as the sun, and had not life to move so swiftly. It was as white as a dead body, because its blood was all gone. One second. Oh, yeah. It was as white as a dead body because its blood was all gone, and it could not make the darkness white as a dead body because its blood was all gone. Almost like it's frozen, not move so swiftly, so and not become red and burning, but instead it was white, like a frozen ball. And it could not make the darkness flee away as the sun had done. Thus day and night, and the sun and moon always remain with the earth. All this almost is suggesting, what I interpret is it's suggesting that Australia made a sphere, but maybe there's another sphere that generally, like, maybe not there, but is like in the South Pole region that went to the South Pole, got there, but like didn't move so swiftly, and it just kind of sat there and became like the South Pole's like sphere somehow. I don't know what that means exactly. Just like, could Antarctica be like a flat sphere laid out and like projected on a sphere, almost a sphere projected on a sphere? At last he took the flesh which lay on the ground and made a ball. Okay, yeah, we read this one. The legend of the Society Islands say that a demon in the west became angry with the sun, and in his rage ate it up, causing night. In the same way, a demon from the east would devour the moon, but for some reason these angry ones could not destroy their captives and were compelled to open their mouths and let the bright balls come forth once more. Maybe Hawaii is the one that's... In some places, a sacrifice of someone of distinction was needed to placate the wrath of the devourers and free the balls of light in times of eclipse. Perhaps like a physical landmass. The moon, pale and dead in appearance, moved slowly, while the sun, full of life and strength, moved quickly. Thus, days were very short, and nights were very long. It almost makes me feel like as the sphere rolls, it's creating like rapid passage of time. That would be so cool. I don't know. But move slowly while the sun moved quickly. Those days were short and nights were very long. It doesn't say necessarily that the overall length of a day was like substantially different from 24 hours. Mankind suffered from the fierceness of the heat of the sun and also from its prolonged absence. So it was a very energetic, but also frequently absent. Day and night were like a burden to men. The darkness was so great and lasted so long that fruits would not ripen. I mean, they seem to be suggesting like truly day and night, not just like cloudy darkness to the point where it's like equivalent to night. Like where the sun is not visible even in a clear sky. Even if the sky were clear, whether or not it was. But darkness was so great and lasted so long. Okay, after Maui had succeeded in throwing the heavens into their place and fastening them so that they could not fall, he learned that he had opened a way for the sun god to come up from the lower world and rapidly run across the blue vault. Lust made two troubles for men. The heat of the sun was very great, and the journey too quickly over. Maui planned to capture the sun and punish him for thinking so little about the welfare of mankind. Fastening them so that they could not fall, he learned that he had opened a way for the sun god to come up from the lower world. It really makes me think, like, I think it would be so cool if all of space was actually a projection that was physically propagated outside of the inner Earths, like the sun was like the core or something of the earth, where it physically funneled out of a channel, like at a pole, and left the earth out of the pole in a way where it, like a flashlight though, and it bent back and then hit the earth, and then it kind of moved inside the earth so that it moves and hits other places and goes around the earth, projecting this intense energy from inside the earth that always looks like it's from this place, and then we can measure it and all the things we do, but really every detail of space is also like that, a projection from inner earth. That would be so cool. I just think it would be so epic. Oh my god. To a point where it really looks like an infinite universe, but it's really just one system, the Earth. I don't know. Even the sun is like the Earth. Oh my god, that'd be so cool. That's kind of how I read this. Like, how could this be? How could these things be? All day and night, and the sun and moon always remain with the earth. It was white as a dead body because its blood was all gone. It could not make the darkness flee away as the sun had done. So maybe there's like a dead star at the pole that's basically projects as the moon from one pole, and that object physically moves, like sways almost, like woo, but in like a this kind of sway, just kind of swaying in whatever like local position it's in a way where then it projects as well. How would eclipses work then? I don't know if that would make sense for eclipses. Like, it would be a projection blocking a projection. That doesn't really make sense. It's funny, I'm willing to abandon like everything I believe or have believed historically pretty rapidly. I mean, just to entertain it, and like, it might be possible. I don't know. As ridiculous as it sounds, I mean, it's really might be possible, so just probably think about it. It's not like wrong to think about it. Okay. The moon, pale and dead in appearance, moves slowly while the sun, full of life and strength, moved quickly. Lost days were very short and nights were very long. Mankind suffered from the fierceness. Sorry, I keep reading the same things. After Maui had succeeded in throwing the heavens into their place, so he moves up here. Throwing the heavens in their place. It might have something to do with all the accretions of material going on over here. After that happened, which was like 100 million radiometric dating kind of time frame. Fastening them so that they could not fall, attaching them so that the accreted terrains were actually accreted. He learned that he had opened a way for the sun god to come up from the lower world and rapidly run across the blue vault. Thus made two troubles for men. The heat of the sun was very great, and the journey too quickly over. Rapidly run across the blue vault. I feel like it just like... It's talking about the ocean. Propagating a current this way. Like maybe there was a like sort of polar eruption. Oops. Like what? Like this is getting compressed by currents, but maybe it had also like squirted out kind of thing. To then propagate a current this way. Over here. Oh, interesting. That's where this is. This piece has these current flows in of the trident structure off of this angel over here. This piece specifically was like over here and got moved over here. So it's probably more like over here before this all opened, relatively, like moved, so it pretty much moved over like one notch, like from over here over here. Not sure why it would do that in relationship to this. Like this would seem like it would stop it. Maybe it did stop its motion past it. Kind of held it in there. If it was in motion while this current was flowing, must have been if the Pacific was opening. A missionary among Hawaiian relates, Maui's mother was troubled very much by the heedless haste of the sun. She had many kapa cloths to make, for this was the only kind of clothing known in Hawaii, except sometimes a woven mat or a long grass fringe worn as a skirt. Kapa cloth. She had a Kapa cloth to make. She had many Kapa cloths to make, for this was the only kind of clothing known in Hawaii. Except sometimes, what if there's a relationship between that and like the... Like it kind of reminds me of the current flows in the ocean specifically. The Kapa cloth. Maybe the mother, to Australia, had an ocean to open. This was the only kind of clothing known in Hawaii, except sometimes a woven mat or long grass fringe worn as a skirt. Woven mat. Stuff makes me think of woven mat. Or the grass skirt. All these. I don't know. Just thinking from that angle. How far are we? 51 minutes. I could watch the video. I think let's just move on from this. In essence, it sounds like possible that this is talking about the motion of the sphere of Hawaii and it going to the North Pole and interacting energetically and going down this way, opening the Pacific and also effectively stabilizing the planet so that then like day becomes as we know it, night becomes as we know it, and all of the motions of the sun and these things are as we know it. You will never catch the sun, you are only an idle nobody, says a Hawaiian a man who taunted and ridiculed Maui. Maui replied, when I conquer my enemy and my desire is attained, I will be your death. Damn. Taunted by a man who ridiculed. You will never catch the sun. You are only an idle nobody. I will be your death. It makes me think some portion of the earth was like energetically interacting with the Hawaiian sphere. And, in essence, like extracting energy from the sphere. So as saying, you will never do this. And being like an energetic like succubus by having like a energetic quantity as to sap the environment. Like it has to be energetic enough to actually be able to take substantial amounts from the environment. So like maybe there's some region that was generally like of relative void that allowed for energy to flow to it, and the Hawaiian sphere like was tapped in by that, but then like that region was destroyed. Maybe it's actually talking about here, Zealandia, where the sphere definitely, I don't know exactly what the sphere did over here. It might have, I know it went like out of here. If we go here, the sphere started in here and went out of here to over here, where it got caught in the currents and sat there for a while. until it opened up to over here. But when it was here, it was actually adjacent here at this point. So in this point, it has like this drain down in there looking appearance that I called a secondary mantle puncture hole. So maybe it's a drainage point. Maybe the Hawaiian sphere leaves grandmother, or mother Australia, grandmother Earth, mother Australia, leaves mother Australia, and it runs into a man who taunts Maui for even leaving Australia in some motion towards the pole, because I guess this is a thing that these particles do. It's like a mechanic of the physics of particles. Like when something emits a electron, let's say, it's probably fractally doing a process where a particle is forming underneath a crust, a region that is then being formed by current flows under that crust in a manner like this, that then like accumulates the dense mass into a sphere particle that it then ejects on the surface of the overall particle to reach a polar position, where then, if it's the right circumstances, there goes a photon, there goes a photon, there goes a photon, etc. Maybe. That's my thoughts, that there's probably a mechanic of that nature, although it might not require going to the pole. It just makes sense, though, too. It may be able to go out the sides, also, like a blow out the side kind of thing. So I don't want to say just the pole, but it does make sense that it would do that. You will never catch the sun. You are an idle nobody. So it's this tiny sphere, 100 kilometers. Also, this is a huge region. Like, not just this, but all of this region is like a polygonal, like a hexagon segment here that is like a chunk of the earth that kind of breaks into pieces. So like this is part of South America, of course, but like this region is somewhat not the same. So like this region is all kind of like one unit energetically, like up to a boundary here, where current was just propagating across it like a flame to go over here, to feed into over there and go over that way and other things. So my thought is maybe it like tapped in there to a degree, but then when I conquer my enemy, I will be your death. Makes me think of the age of the Andes is relatively young, meaning if they're related to the motion of this Hawaiian sphere going down this way and across, which was really, when it stopped here, it really stopped like over here in this area, or like here, somewhere over here in this general area. Possibly like in here further underneath, like, I don't know, that doesn't really make sense underneath at that point, so probably out here. But then the earth expanded to move it away. Maybe not. It may not be directly interacting, just like at a distance. It's so hard to say. I think it's at a distance because it just sounds too ridiculous that it would be that close to it. Where it's at a distance with this. And over here, this whole corner. Like it runs into here at the first bend, but then it runs into here energetically at the second bend, which is actually over here. So it goes like down along the Philippines energetically here, and then bends here energetically again, but not at the angle, just like because of the angle having this bend, there's a relationship. So it's propagating as it's moving this way, generally on the crust, which some of the Pacific was under North America. So there is that going on. If we go to animations, like this portion of the Pacific, and notice Hawaii is here is Hess rise, Shatsky rise, Shatsky rise, Hess rise. So Hawaii is going that way, and then goes like into North America seemingly, but like the Earth is expanding away, so it's possible it's kind of running near the boundary. I don't know what to make of the age discrepancy if it were to be like rolling to a stop at the boundary, and then like 60 million years of oceanic crust are between Hawaii and North America. Like all of this. Some portion of it. Here we go. What the? It's literally not the same image. I want to see Hawaii. It looks like 83, 60, somewhere in that range. It's resting on. Almost like at the KT boundary, it ran into over here. Like the crust was actually forming, and it ran into the edge of the Pacific Formation, where it ran into resistance, but it did so in a way that just allowed for the Earth to expand from there, I guess. I don't know, for all this material to be exposed. I don't know exactly, because it would be rolling at like 1 million when it reaches here, seemingly. Is around 1 million radiometric dating. Or less. Like, recent. Where all this stuff is before then up to about the KT boundary. So somehow that would have to form. I guess just from the interaction it's probably forming. So as it's moving, it's probably propagating an energy into South America. It is kind of curious that that points at it. at the Andes. And the legend says, "When I conquer my enemy and my desire is attained, I will be your death." Then there's all these pressure points here along that way. And then through there. So maybe the man who taunted Maui is not just South America, but it was actually like South America, Antarctica, Africa, large portions of the earth that then, when this process started to happen, actually segmented it enough. I think the Atlantic was already opening by that point, somewhat. Let's see. I guess we can just look at this. Like, there's certainly the blue, but then green. It looks like there's... Let's see. Just wondering if it's like a bulk of the Atlantic. Let's see, some kind of like time frame. Under 20, they're starting to separate, but still together. 65, they're fully separated. After studying the path of the sun, Maui returned to his mother and told her that he would go and cut off the legs of the sun so that he could not run so fast. Legs of the sun. Almost like he... goes up. Boom! Underneath it. Boom! Cuts off the legs. I don't know. Like some support structure of this area. It's holding it some way that then allows it to swing open some reason. Why that would be cutting the legs off. "Are you strong enough for this work?" his mother said. He said yes. Then she gave him 15 strands of well-twisted fiber and told him to go to his grandmother, who lived in the great crater of Haleakala, for the rest of the things in his conflict with the sun. So maybe the grandmother is not Mother Earth, but is a grandmother before grandmother. Oh, that's the first sign of the grandmother. Maybe the grandmother in this case is like North America or something. Something that is energetically related to Australia. I don't know. Asia, maybe. For the rest of the things in his conflict with the sun, she said, "You must climb the mountain to the place where a large willy tree is standing. There you will find the place where the sun stops to eat cooked bananas prepared by your grandmother. Stay there until a rooster crows 3 times. Then watch your grandmother go out to make a fire and put on food. You had better take her bananas. She will look for them and find you and ask who you are. Tell her you belong to Haina." Okay, guys. I don't want to finish this story, honestly. Let's keep going. The point is, it seems related, and I need to look into it closer. But I would like to switch to some images. This was interesting. Look at all ancient aliens. I took an image of it like, whoa. Dude. This structure inside of it is crazy. It's got purposeful openings reminiscent of those structures in Egypt. Like down in some random pyramid, there's some structure like this that has openings in it. Very much looks like it in that way. It's got windows and a doorway, but it gives the impression with these openings. Although maybe they're just for fires, I guess. Could be argued they're for fires, but like someone's building this type of structure and then making it so they can have a fire inside. This makes me think of a chamber that has current flows, inflows, outflows, and things, and like an overflow area, like some kind of energetic purpose that is not really fully grasped. Maybe this fell down, I guess. Looking at the stone and on here, I guess it could have been up from up there. I guess there could have been stones going across here, but it looks like they kind of ended them there. So maybe they did go across to there and fell in. I don't know. Anyway, pardon me. I just came across that. Cosmic ray fission tracks from the last polar reversal, and they show these. I noticed it's kind of like where the Indonesian archipelago is moving from physically. Possibly related. So it would pretty much mean that the movement of the Indonesian archipelago was after the Babylon thing we talked about in the last episode. Like after the Great Wall, after being the Great Wall, the Indonesian archipelago was the Great Wall for a time, and then it moved when the Earth fully expanded at the KT boundary time frame, which was after the Babylonian map in reality, and the Indonesian archipelago moved as the Hawaiian sphere did all these things that were documented in these stories. That then, as the Indonesian archipelago moved, part of it was because of this energy from the North Pole region, I guess, that then made a higher cluster of these fission tracks, which Elon associates to cosmic rays, but they're fission tracks. They're not specifically cosmic rays. That's what people generally would interpret them to be, but they're just tracks in which particles flowed. In a general, basic sense, that could be any actual source. It's just cosmic rays is what we are probably most aware of as causing them. or most able to envision causing the observations in this case. And there's tektites, fission track stuff. I don't want to go through this too much. Okay, here we go. Then I was watching Nick Zentner today, and he mentions the Chalice magmas in Idaho region here, as he draws. So the Idaho volcanic arc, or whatever exactly the structure is that he is talking about, is pre-53 million radiometric dating. And it's compressive, so this time there's a compression. There's a force being applied into the region from both sides, pretty much compression along this. And then in the interim between 53 and 46, there's a expansion or spreading period of the Chalice magmas, when then they go back this way, dating to like 52, apparently not 53. He said he wanted it to be 53, that's why he put 53 there. That's actually 52 to 50 or to 44, east to west younging of the mountains, or whatever, of the magmas, which are basaltic, andesite, dolerite, maybe rhyolite, basalt, andesite, rhyolite, and whatever that is, dolomite, maybe. So all sorts of magmas. 7-year quiet window, and then again another compressive period, 46 million. So 46 million compressive period, 50. A quiet period, 53 to 46, is a little odd. Almost as if this sphere is related. Let's say the sphere is moving, and it's running into resistance as it approaches the bend. That is applying a pressure into this point, to a point where it actually has a caldera, a volcanic eruption of the largest variety, right there. So it's kind of putting the energy into that portion, that point. So my thought is maybe it like puts, as it approaches here, it's putting a lot of energy into that point, because resistance is building up on this side more than on this side. So then it ends up like really applying pressure into this point, leading to a compressive lull over here, maybe. Oops. Silesia, 56 million, 50. And then there's late Cretaceous flare-ups, 100 million, with Whangarei and friends, he said, docking on North America, which... So then I'm looking at this, like, is it possible that the Hawaiian sphere, like, went through right here, and went over this way, ran into the Idaho batholith, south of Orinoco, is it? South of whatever that main geological reference point town is. Somewhere. Orofino. South of here. Right here. Literally hits here, and like wherever exactly the boundary is that this compressive force happened, that is known to have happened here. See Basil Tikoff's videos on Nick Zentner's channels, whichever one he talks about it, sorry. They talk about it for sure. there is some compression, massive compression here, extreme compression that happened and is like a mystery in some ways. So Whangarei hits at 100 million, which is actually like over here, out here. So there's Whangarei like out to the west that hit down here and moved upward. Somewhere it hit somewhere south and just like went up this way because currents were just pushing it from Baja California region this way up here and into here, but along North America. So then it got docked at 100 million. Time frame to 85 million, and then the western Idaho shear zone forms at 85 million. Alright, in that time frame, up to 85 million. So is it possible the sphere actually hit there on the way down? Like this propagation. This starts around that time frame, 85 million. So maybe it started going this way, but it was doing so over here and pushing a pressure, all of that actually applied a pressure into a pressure point. It wasn't that the sphere was there, it was at the pressure point. The spooky action at a distance was there, if you will. And then, apparently, the Idaho batholith formed a Atlanta lobe from 83 to 67 million, and then KT boundary, something changed in the Bitterroot lobe in the north. So there's this going on. Is it possible that the sphere started to propagate, like a current started to propagate in front of this sphere, like a leading edge current that, boom, forms the West Idaho shear zone where this pressure occurred, that this stuff, and then the sphere follows up behind it, and coming around 66 million at the KT boundary, it hits it. It actually hits it. I don't know if that fits the West Idaho shear zone very well. Let's look at the West. This thing. 90 degrees. It's like a little nook. Like just looking at this. Or actually at this. And like this boundary. I guess right here, this boundary. So possibly a current was going back this way, running into this upflowing current and going into North America, across, through this region and applying a pressure there. As the Hawaiian sphere moved, pushing into North America, and then maybe applying another pressure point further down as it moved. I don't know if that was really like the main pressure point. It seems to possibly have interacted with Bighorn Mountain too, and other regions. Like, I wonder, could it have gone this way, down here, bent, gone this way, by actually being shot, like, down this path, pretty much, that through here, running into resistance in this area? And then the Pacific Plate moves away from North America. While westward it was propagating energy into the Philippines, but eastward it was maybe really rolling this way. KT boundary is when Bighorn, I know that Bighorn uplifted at the KT boundary. So maybe that's exactly what happens. It comes in, hits this point. Dong. Resistance goes down maybe through here even. And like the earth shifts though, so it goes maybe across that way to like the bend, the second bend. That's where the bend is. This bend. It bends here. Bends here though. And that is here. So maybe it physically at that bend like turned and was like moved out this way though by like an abrupt motion. I don't know. Well, I'm trying to whoa, pardon me. I should go to bed. It's 12. I gotta be up early. Crap. Not bed immediately, but I should probably stop soon. Okay, so what else we got? Let's keep going. So there's that. Some other stuff. And then unrelated video to what we're talking about. I was just watching on the plateaus of India from Geo something. Sorry. Forget his name. Geo something. I don't know. Plateaus of India. Something. Yeah, this guy. Geoecologist. There it is. There it is. But I was watching this, but anyway. Then I came across Rex's video, and then I was like, well, dude, this looks like current flows coming out of some channel. Like it going down and then entering someplace, and it then just goes out. Like it looks shallogram-like. Features. All these features up here. Oh my god. Definitely something going on the surface of this of interest. These, the more I looked at them, the more they look like the things in the distance, like right here. Like imagine a little cave there. Like that other cave. You can really see the, like, layerings. Huh. This one especially, it just looks like the, like right over across the way. And this cool peak over there. This reminds me of scholar stones, Chinese scholar stones, looking like a whole mountain range. Erosion down there is crazy. This stuff's crazy. Oh my god. Crazy. It's so cool. I mean, certainly erosion. Apparently this is considered a volcano? Wait, what? Volcano. Inside a giant volcano. Apparently. That's what it's considered, at least. Must be some reason. I don't know. Incredible, though. Great pictures. The reason I'm showing this is because we're going to look at where this is geologically, or not on Google Earth. Google Earthly. It's so cool. There's that cave thing again. Okay, we made it. I'll just do that, I guess. Then that place is over here, though. It was like over here. I started looking around. I'm like, dude. Maybe I can kind of do this real quick. Mind you, this is very close to the Colorado Plateau, which we've already discussed in depth as having ammonite features. Could even go like towards, maybe it looks kind of to me like it does something like this. I don't know. It has like maybe a main point chakra to it. So there's that. If we zoom out a little further, so let's just real quick do that one again. generally there. Then around it, like, I guess we can go like this. And at that point, I don't know, maybe something like this. Let's look at the map a little more. Now I'm seeing all the way out here. Maybe there-ish. Like different degrees, maybe, of like a, I don't know where that would spiral in. Maybe that goes in over there even, I don't know. But then around that nucleus, so this is like a nucleus for sure, this region. And then that place that he was at seems to be, I don't know, somewhere in this area. I'm like, can I spot it? Definitely some of these flat top things around. So that means there's a eddy here. So long story short, eddy here that I never really thought to notice. Never really looked in there. Now I look at it, I'm like, there's another one. So there was an eddy here, apparently related to that. On the side to the images we're just looking at. On the side here. Oops. What is going on there? I'll just kind of go. Screaming. What? It's almost like an exhaust path. The whole Laramide orogeny really is around the KT boundary. So the sphere's rolling through, influencing this region around the KT boundary. Whether or not it's underneath it, I don't know. As the Pacific plate is moving away. I mean, a lot of this area just didn't exist in terms of as it is today. There was open space. It's possible it flowed down a channel between a boundary like this, and internally and made it out without really being clear that that happened. Okay, guys, I gotta go. That's my update for now. Hope this video was interesting and worth your time. I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.